Well, President Trump had a bizarre exchange with Jim Acosta of CNN today. Acosta suggested the president had a duty of some kind to take a question about Judge Kavanaugh from a female reporter, just as soon as Jim Acosta got to ask a question.
If you don't mind, after I'm finished, if Ouija or Hallie or Vivian or one of our female colleagues could go after me, that would be great. Mr. President, just to follow up on these allegations against Brett Kavanaugh.
What does he mean by that? Explain. What does that mean?
I think it would be great if a female.
What does it mean? No, what does it mean?
It would be great if a female reporter would ask you a question about this issue. So if you don't mind,
I wouldn't mind that at all. No, I wouldn't mind it at all.
All right. Well, let me. If I
wouldn't make any difference to me.
All right.
Go ahead.
Jim Acosta, big warrior for women, as long as he gets to go first. Author and columnist Mark Steyn joins us tonight. So what? Let's just be literal for a minute.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
I'm not sure. I am in press conferences, though. If Jim Acosta is in the room, I am in favour of women and children first.
I agree.
And I hope they're all out of all the lifeboats are gone before Jim Acosta's turn comes. This is actually far more condescending and sexist than all the old dead white Republican men on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Chuck Grassley and Orrin Hatch in their worst nightmares couldn't be more sexist and condescending than that. Women reporters generally are tough. They don't need gentleman Jim Acosta to hold the door for them, to let them through so they can get a question in. Rosalind Russell, in His Girl Friday, 1939, 80 years ago, Ros Russell played a tough, no-nonsense reporter. She'd have punched Jim Acosta's lights out for the condescension.
Look, I'm not making any specific claims against anybody, but have you noticed, as you've lived in this country for a long time, that the people who make the loudest noises about what feminists they are tend to have a more spotty record with women in their own lives?
Yes, I think that's absolutely true, and I think that's actually what's underpinning some of this. I think there's an element of projection in the whole Democrat media savagery on this Kavanaugh issue. They've had a rough year. They've lost a senator. They've lost Conyers in the House on the Democrat side. On the media, they've lost some of the most fated figures, whether it's Charlie Rose, whether it's Matt Lauer, whether it's Harvey Weinstein. All these people that Kirsten Gillibrand's been photographed.
Well, let me ask you about Kirsten Gillibrand. So she has not, through the course of this Kavanaugh story, hasn't simply ignored due process or the presumption of innocence. She's bragged about ignoring those things. Watch this.
To those who I hear say over and over, this isn't fair to Judge Kavanaugh. He's entitled to due process. What about the presumption of innocence until proven guilty? He's not entitled to those because we're not actually seeking to convict him.
So we have another soundbite, which I'm not going to play because I don't think I can handle it, but she basically says, if you support due process and presumption of innocence, you're part of the problem, pal, so shut up.
Yeah.
This kind of feels like the beginning of something new and ominous.
No, it's absolutely awful, this. This is the Viscount Sankey, who's Lord Chancellor in England, and actually did the thing that eventually became the UN Declaration of Human Rights. The presumption of innocence isn't just a criminal court value. It's actually a human right. It's a civilizational value. And it's what Viscount Sankey called the golden thread in English law. And what these people like Kirsten Gillibrand, who's a lawyer, is actually doing is taking the scissors and cutting up the golden thread. Now, she says, oh, it's not a criminal court. No, it's beyond that. It's the Senate in its advise and consent. Actually, it's the U.S. equivalent of the Lord Chancellor. The Lord Chancellor in England appoints judges. The Senate does it here. And so what that does, when the state actually says there's no presumption of innocence, 100 Americans out of 300 million get to be U.S. senators. And if they don't believe in the presumption of innocence, that's something that every American should be concerned about. When the most powerful figures in the land, like Kirsten Gillibrand, are willing to trash, you mentioned Mark Judge, for the next 30 years, when anybody Googles his name, all they're going to see theory is that he apparently led all these gang rape parties all across the land.
It's unbelievable. So many people are being destroyed right now, and everyone's terrified. Mark Stein, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.
Right after a show, Mark will be rejoining us for a live book signing on Facebook. It'll be on our page at Tucker Carlson Fox. We'll also post a link to it on our show page. We've got copies of the new book, Ship of Fools, out Monday, answering questions from viewers. You can pre-order a signed one if you like at shipoffoolsbook.com. That's right after tonight's show on Facebook. We'll be back. Not every person on the left is like Kirsten Gillibrand. Thank heaven. Alan Dershowitz, who is a Democrat, a liberal,